Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Carburetor Parts. I'm going to be rebuilding this Holley one barrel Holley 847. Anyway, and what I'm going to do here is probably make a couple of videos, and this one here will be the disassembly of this carburetor. And I'm taking off the choke lever here first. And let's see, we'll take this linkage loose. Fortunately, kits are still available for this carburetor. We sell quite a few of them actually. Okay, and you can find parts for this carburetor at you can go to mikescarb.com, or just do a Google search for Mike's Carburetor Parts and you'll find me easy enough that way. This thing's pretty dirty on the outside. This has been on the shelf for about 35 years, maybe longer. By the way, if you find one of these things at a swap meet, be careful what you buy. If you see white, crusty stuff like this, that's usually water damage. And if you see any on the outside, it's probably going to be worse on the inside. So I know when I'm looking for cores, I see that, I pass. Chances are pretty good the insides are going to be messed up. Of course, this one just got one little spot on it, but still. Be forewarned. And of course, people selling this stuff, these used parts, swap meets, they have no clue what they're talking about usually. For them, it's a new rebuilt carburetor. Okay, I'm not sure what I'm forgetting something here. Now let's take the throttle body loose. Oh, there it is. I forgot. There's a screw underneath here. I have an article on my blog. Go to you can go to my website and click on technical, and you'll find information about the 847, and a pretty good article there about how this carburetor works. And if you understand how it works, it'll go a long ways for you when you're trying to rebuild it. This is your power valve. Works under vacuum, so at idle or low speeds, the vacuum's going to pull this up. And by the way, they should work that loose. I figured this might be a pretty good carburetor. It's got some little bit of corrosion there, but I'll get that cleaned up. Anyway, these are a lot of times are just frozen up. At any rate, the vacuum holds it closed like that. As you gain speed, it'll lose vacuum. This thing will get pushed down, then it pushes down on the your power valve right in here. See a little pin right there, and pushes down on that, and allows more fuel to go directly into your carburetor. There's our jet. It looks like a, I can't remember. Let me see here. I'll check on it later. I think it's just a regular Holley jet. And take out the Venturi stuff here. Your check weight goes in here, by the way, so don't lose that. I could have lost that easy enough. Remember, you can't buy most of this stuff anymore. Kit's okay, but I don't think that's in the kit. They usually aren't. Alright, we're taking out the venturi. That's your idle tube there. This here is all designed to speed up the atomization of your air-fuel mixture. And let's see, I don't think that's going to fit. Oh, nope, I need a smaller screwdriver. Okay. Fortunately, everything's coming apart. This comes out. It's this kind of stuff that gets frozen when you're. I mean, there's a little gasket right there, or there should be. Would it drop off? I'm pretty sure there's a gasket on there anyway. We'll find out. We get the kit out. See, there's a little screen on there. Yeah, this one's in pretty good shape. It probably hasn't been rebuilt that many times. Like I say, it was sitting on a shelf for quite a long time. Okay, the power valve's not going to come out so easy. And what I do sometimes is I'll bang it and get my hammer. Bang it a couple times with a hammer. And a lot of times we'll loosen it up. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I can see this one had some little bit of corrosion on the bottom, so it probably had some water in it. So there's your power valve. And you see you got this little linkage right here that links your accelerator pump. Oops, there's a clip on it. I'm used to these things just popping out. Didn't realize that one had the clip. Okay, and there you go. So you can see the long end goes up into the accelerator pump. And generally I have to look at the sheet. Generally the middle one is your normal setting, and the other way is richer, and the other ways, the other opposite end be lean. I can see that's not going to come out easy. And we'll get into that more when I put it back together. So I generally take the throttle body completely apart with the plate and everything, get it nice, good and clean. If you don't have a tap and die and a good drill bits, don't take yours apart, because if you break one of the screws, and they do break easy, you're going to be in big trouble if you can't fix it. Okay. Throw everything into a box, to a plastic bin, keep everything together. Recommend you get your digital camera out and take a lot of pictures as you're taking this apart. And I'm going to take this valve out off camera after I get it clean, usually is what I do, because sometimes it takes a lot of work. And what I do here is I grind off the end of the screw, because they're mushroomed over, and I grind them flush with the throttle shaft, and that way they'll generally come right out. I do break them sometime because they're awful small screws, but yeah, if you don't do that, they'll break for sure. Okay. Okay, I'm going to have to work on this a little bit, I can see that. Take your time, you don't want to break anything. Let's finish this here. I'll take the float out. You're going to have to test your float. You can't buy new ones. Heat up some water just prior to boiling and immerse this in it, and if it has any leaks it will bubble. You won't have any trouble seeing it. There's your needle. This one came right out, but I should have used a bigger screwdriver. Use a screwdriver as wide as you can to fit that stuff, so it'll come out easier that way. These here generally, a lot of times you can just let's see here, they're staked over there. See, it just came out. If somebody staked it over, a lot of times you just keep flicking on it like that and it'll finally come out. The other thing you can do is just take your little chisel and just kind of work your way around it. They're usually just staked a little bit unless somebody got over eager with it. Alright, one thing you want to look at on these chokes is the poppet valve on it. Make sure it's there. This poppet valve, what it does is, and it needs to be real loose. When you first start up, you'll be at maximum vacuum and it'll suck this open, and that'll get you some airflow. Otherwise, you could choke. It'll choke too much, and sorry, I was looking at something. It'll choke too much and flood out. If you have any kind of problem like that when the engine's cold, check that, and also make sure it's not missing. Same thing goes for this. You grind the screws off and then take it apart just like you did the throttle. There's a spring on here, so see it, the spring is going to, it's so dirty, return that choke. And there's a little this will come out. There should be a spring behind it, as I recall. I haven't had one of these apart for quite a while. This is for let's see. Oh, it doesn't have it. Okay, it's for these things here. Yeah, it does have a little indentation right there, and so that's what it keeps it from the choke closing on you. Anyhow, that's what that's for. It'll come out. I'll have to clean it before it will. Okay, so there's your top. I'm going to clean it, and then I'll take the valve out of it. This here is I have to give up, do this off camera. It might take too long, but I don't want to hurry it too much because I might break something. Okay, so anyway, this is your accelerator pump. You can see the spring is on here, and it's got a little kind of a washer here that goes underneath it, and then this just goes through it, and it's pretty simple to set up. So there you go. We're gonna put this in the cleaner. We'll clean it up, and then we'll come back and put it together. Thank you for watching. Hi, Mike from Mike's Carburetor Parts here. I'm working on this Holley 1-barrel 847 carburetor. It fits forwards, and I did a previous video where I took it apart, and now I've cleaned it, everything up, everything painted and clean, and getting ready to put it back together. And I'm going to start with the throttle body here. As you can see, I did this offline. I took the throttle plate apart. I also took the choke plate out. I like to get them all cleaned up. I get it all buffed out. I buffed this stuff, just use a wire brush, not a wire brush, a wire, well, it is a wire wheel, excuse me. Anyway, so when you take these off, I grind the back of them with a Dremel tool, get them flush, And once you do that, the screws come out pretty easy. If you don't do that, you're going to break the screw in there. You're going to have to drill and tap. Okay, so you took digital pictures when you took this apart, so you remember how things go back together. Also, on this throttle plate, let's see, this goes this way. On the throttle plate, I make a mark. I made a mark here and on the plate so I get it lined up, or get it in the same place. You don't want to get it turned around. You want it to seal as good as possible. Okay. Let's see. I think this is our fast idle cam. It goes something like so. Just want to be sure. Yeah, that'll go in there. I want to be sure I don't leave it out. I use a thread locker when I put the screws in here. I'm coming up with a little bit of a hardware kit for this 847 so that you can get new screws in particular. So, a bit of a process sometimes to figure out exactly what needs to be in there as far as screws go. Okay, so anyway, like I say, I put a little Loctite on the screws. That keeps them from falling out into the engine and creating havoc. I suppose after you get all together, you can also beat them to death and mushroom the end of them off. I choose not to do that. Okay, so get in there and get your screws started. You know, I want to seat it real good. I want to make sure I don't have any more air leaking around here than I have to. If you mess with the throttle body like this and took it apart, and then when you get all done you have trouble with the engine not idling down slow enough, it could be because you didn't get this sealed around here. It acts just like a vacuum leak, and it will now this is a nice one. I can't see any air through it. Yeah, okay, so oops. So there we go, we got that on there. And let's get the float bowl over here, and we'll get the gasket. You can spray these with the silicone spray lubricant. It helps bring them back to life. The gaskets also keeps them from sticking to the carburetor so much, so in case you have to take it back apart, it'll save your gaskets. Okay. Okay. These are two flange gaskets. I'm not sure why there's two in the kit. Sometimes I just make a mistake and put too many in there. At any rate, different story. So there we go. Now check your throttles before you take it apart. Actually, I don't know if I mentioned this when I disassembled it or not, but what you don't want is free play back and forth. It's not a real problem on these cast iron type, but if you get too much slop, it'll act like a vacuum leak. And if you suspect such a thing, spray some carburetor cleaner around your shaft, and if your engine tends to smooth out, you know you got a problem. And the only way you can fix it is find another throttle body, or you can put bushings in there. You have to drill and put bushings. It's kind of a job for machine shop. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna put the nope, not either, because I got to get another spring. So I thought I was going to put the idle mixer screw on there. Okay, so let's put the power valve in there, and let's see. It should have a gasket. Comes in the kit. Now you want to be sure that all the little holes here are open. Blow through it. Get you some wire that'll fit in there, and the ethanol these days that are in the gasoline tends to leave a lot of residue behind, so even cleaning it may not get it all out. So okay, don't over tighten it, you may never get it back out. I determined these are regular Holley jets. You can buy them on my website. I'll have to change the listing to include the 847. So that's your main jet. Get a screwdriver with a wide, as wide as possible, that'll fit in it, so that you don't chip it. And incidentally, if the edges are chipped, that's not a big deal. What you don't want is the chips to get down in the carburetor and create a problem with the blocking. The hole in the middle is where the fuel goes, so chipping the side of the jet does not mean it has to be replaced. Okay? Oh, by the way, since I'm thinking about it, to identify these carburetors, they're usually stamped right here. This is model 8HA. Now it's 8HA-A or something like that, but the dash is not on there. Just the 8HA, and that'll be enough for you to find a carburetor kit. You put that in our search box, click go, it should find it. There's, I think, 3 different kits for the 847. Not sure what the difference is. One of them's for a governor type, I believe. Alright, so anyhow, moving along. We get a new check ball. This check ball, if I can get a hold of it, okay, goes down here in the bottom of the accelerator pump well. You have 2 holes down here. That right away tells me I need a check ball in here. One hole is for intake, for bringing when the accelerator pump goes up, the fuel will bleed into the well, and where the check ball is, and what happens is check ball from the weight of the fuel will raise up out of the trough and allow fuel in there. Okay, so when the accelerator pump's getting pushed down, the check ball is going to plug up the hole so it doesn't go back into the float bowl, and it's going to go out to a different hole out to the main discharge right here. Okay, so that's what the check ball is all about. These have little clips here. Don't lose this clip. If you do, you'll have to make one. I don't believe you can ever buy them. But this part right here, right over the check ball, that'll keep it from coming out. That's sometimes a little trick. What I generally do, and didn't have one here, is I use a socket that fits here pretty close to shove it all down there. And let's see here. Okay, got the wire right on top of it. Okay. Okay, we're going to check our accelerator pump system and make sure it's okay. I put the check ball in it. I got the clip to hold it down. I put the check weight in here. Let's see, what did I do with the old check weight? The kit comes with a new check weight. At least this kit does for this particular 847. And there's the old one. That's what it looks like. So it goes down in here, and I'm going to check and make sure that I can get fuel out to the venturi, and I do that by putting my, as if the top was on it, I just put my finger over the check weight hole here, and I'm going to pump, and you can see the fuel will squirt out just like it's supposed to into the venturi. That part's working good. That's not clogged up. The other thing is I push down without it just to make sure you get fuel through here. Normally won't come through there, but I just want to make sure all my passages are clear. Let's see. Now, if you're not getting enough through here, then it could be your check ball here needs to be seated, and the way you do that, both of them can be seated by using a brass drift punch, and you're gonna have to get an awful small one to get on the check ball here and tap it a little bit with a hammer, being very careful. You'll get that check ball stuck in there and you'll never get it out again. And by the way, if you happen to get one that has a frozen check ball in there, you can drill out right underneath it in the bottom here with a very small hole, poke it out with a piece of wire, and then just take some JB weld and plug up the hole there, and it should hold up for a long time. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to get this emptied out and cleaned up here a little bit, and then we'll move on. Okay, continuing on, we're going to get our venturi in there. First thing we got to do is get our gaskets in place. Got two small gaskets. One goes up here on this side, and this other one goes over here. Okay. This has some very small holes in it, so what you want to be sure, get you some wire and make sure they're cleaned out good. And like I mentioned before, it's the ethanol. Used to be I would tell you never to put a piece of wire in the holes because it makes them holes. You could make them larger or change the size of them, but you know, with the ethanol, we're kind of forced to do that. Okay, so we got that in there. I'm going to go ahead and put my idle tube in there. So it's got a passageway through here and through this small hole here, so you got to make sure that's all clear. So get it screwed in there on the right screwdriver. Okay. Okay, and so let's see now. We have two of these, and let's see. Sometimes they're different. Nope, these are both the same size. So this is going to hold down our venturi. What this venturi does here, it helps emulsify the fuel when it mixes with the air, and speeds up the process. Okay, I'm not going to tighten those down yet. I want to make sure everything is where it's supposed to be in here. And so make sure it's where it's supposed to be. I'm not sitting up on a ledge or something. Okay, so these just simply hold it in place. Alright, so there we go. So we got the let's see, here it is. So you have to think about, these sometimes have a fiber washer on them. Oh, I hopefully you noticed, I think when I mentioned it when I took this apart, that on this side there's a screen mesh on there. It's good to have that to filter out any small debris. Okay, yeah, there is a washer. I thought there was. Okay, I think this is probably it right here. I just want to make sure a little fiber washer goes on here like so. Okay. Actually, the way, oh, okay, it sits in there okay. I was going to say you can hold the carburetor upside down, but it looked like it sit in there just where it's supposed to go. Okay, you don't have to reef on this stuff. Alright, so we have a spring for this that we're going to put on the website. But anyway, this return spring is 1/4 inch too long for this one. We just cut it off and we can use it. Okay, so there we go, and it goes, this is your return spring. It goes like, I need my bracket here. Here it is, right here. Okay, it goes in here like so. Oops, sorry, I forgot something here. We actually have a washer type of deal that goes in there first. Here it is. Okay, it goes like so. You gotta be sure that's in there. If you've lost it, you're gonna have to make something. All right, so that's what we do right there. There you go. Okay, so this goes in the, oops, excuse me, it's the wrong place. Slides it right down like so. Make sure it doesn't bind up. Play with it here until it, there we go. Alright, so it's feeling pretty good. Just had to bend it just slightly. Okay, so let's see. Yeah. Make sure this thing is gonna, I guess that can go on any time. Alright, just want to make sure of that. So now we got this little bracket, or lever I should say, that let's see, goes on like so. I believe it goes this way. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So that would open it. Closed. Okay. And let's see, do we have directions for this? I have to check on that. No. Nothing there about where it's supposed to be. It actually looks, oh, I see, okay. So here we got our little bracket that holds it all together here. So it goes like this. You want to put it on the end one to start with. You may have to play with this. If you get any kind of a hesitation after you're all done, you might play with this. One's richer, and I have to think about which way to go here. Okay, so that's in there like that. So there you go. So now you want to make sure that we're not getting any binding, and like I started with a bind here, I had to bend that a little bit, that arm. So this one's looking pretty good. Okay, so I'm looking at my schematic here to make sure I haven't forgotten anything on this part of it. So we got that together, and don't forget your check weight. It's going to go into here. Okay, let's put the top together. I'm going to put our choke together first here. Goes in this way. Now you got a spring on here that's going to spring load it. And I want to get out here so you can see how the spring goes. This part will hook down here on this little stud right there, just like that. The other end goes right here. Okay. Alright, and what that's going to do is spring load it that way. Okay. This is going to end up being pointed that way, so I think I'm going to have to hold it. Let's see, so I can get this in here. This will only go one way, but this has to be on the bottom. Okay. Yeah, just like that. All right. Okay. You see how that spring is going to keep it closed, or help keep it closed, I should say. I got to get a couple screws here. These are very small screws, so you know, be careful. They're easy to strip and break. That's just the way it is. It'd be nice if everything was grade 8, but it just ain't the way the world is anymore. Okay. Alright, so I'm holding this closed. I'm going to make sure it's seated where it's supposed to go. And there we go. So that's what you want, low spring action. I'm going to show that spring again, how it goes. Okay, you really do need that spring on there, or you may have trouble with your choke. Okay, let's see here. Alright, so if I haven't mentioned it, make sure your check weight's in there. Okay, originally these had a little clip that hold them down in there. It was kind of silly because we got a gasket that'll hold it on there just fine. Okay, your power piston goes in here, and if this is too loose here where it keeps falling out, just stake the edge a little bit. When I say stake, you take a little hammer and chisel and just kind of tap it a little bit. It kind of makes the mushrooms over the metal and holds that in. Okay, so there we go. Where's our needle? Okay, we put our needle in here. I already put the seat in. I guess I should do that again. Sometimes I make mistakes. I do portions of the video over again. I want to be sure. I don't want you to see see me make a mistake, number one. Okay, so here's the seat. And I did make a mistake and had to do this part over anyhow. So don't forget your washer. Okay, and you can start it this way, upside down, so the washer doesn't fall off. And use a wide-bladed screwdriver so that you don't chip your seat. You don't want chips inside there. You can always, a lot of times what I do here is spray it with silicone spray lubricant and make sure there's nothing in there. Kind of blows it out. Now when you get your carburetor back on the vehicle and you get it started up and it all of a sudden starts flooding, there's a good chance that you had junk in your gas tank or in your fuel lines, and it as soon as you start it up, it ends up back in the carburetor again, and you got to take it apart. So if you have that problem, that's a good possibility. Okay, so the specs show 3/16 of an inch without the gasket on here, from to the I guess the bottom of the top here to the bottom of the all right, right here, 3/16. So you can use a drill bit, whatever. I just measure it. You know, you're within a 1/16 or so. You're okay. Now you change the measurement by bending this up or down. Do not put pressure on your needle, or you'll mess up the Vitens part of it. The float drop, as long as it drops and lets it back out, or lets the needle fall out, you're good to go there. And in case it got pushed way in, it's this little flapper right here. That looks like, let's see. Yeah, it happens to be the same float that goes on their Holley 2-barrel 2100s or Holley 94s, so that's interesting. Alright, in case you need one, you got more than one kind of carburetor, find one, because they don't make the floats anymore. Okay, so we got our power. I'm looking over here, make sure I didn't forget something. Looks like we're good to go there. Okay, I'm going to use some new screws, make it look good. We should have a hardware kit figured out on this one by the time I get done. Something I've never done for this particular carburetor. Because unless you know where to get this stuff, these screws are hard to come by. Okay, so don't reef on these too much. You'll end up warping it if it's not warped already, from people reefing on it, and then it'll leak around here. And the way you take care of that is actually go look on my website for the Holley 1-barrel 1904, and you'll see what I did to that to take care of the warpage, and you would do the same thing on this one. Okay, so there we go. So let's get our first of all, we got our little oh, what is this thing called? I forget. It's a well, it's an indent thing, but you put your little spring in there first. Looks like a bullet. Okay, that spring is very stiff, like that, and what that's for is to sits in here and keep your choke so it doesn't accidentally stay closed. Okay. Alright, so there we go, and got our washer. And we're going to try for a new screw here. I don't remember if I got the screw for this one or not. I think I did. No, wrong size. I'll have to look at that some more. What did I do with the old screw? We'll use it for now. here. Okay. Something I forgot to do a little bit ago. There's a little, don't forget your lock washer down here. And then the nut that goes on it. Takes a 5/16 wrench. Okay, don't reef on it so hard that you bust it off. Oh, that little bracket fell off. What's going on here? Oh yeah. Oh, I gotta put a clip on it. Silly me. Okay. Okay, so back to this. Put our fast idle cam on here. And that's interesting. Oh, I gotta have some clips. And why they don't put these in the kits, I don't know. That's too bad. I'll get some new ones after I get off the video here. Let's see, this goes, what did I do wrong here? Geez, I'm all messed up. Goes something like this. Okay. I'll list these two. Okay, so there we go. So that's the fast idle cam. So here it's open. Choke is open, which we'll do manually here with this thing right here. And okay, the throttle's closed, so we want to open the choke. It'll turn this on that high spot here, right there, and open the throttle just a little bit. So that's what that's about. That's how that works. Okay. So there we go. And let's see. Think about what's left. Oh, by the way, let's go get another cotter pin. This goes right here. Don't forget to put a cotter pin in there. Okay. And this goes over here. So we got to take one of the screws back out. That's all right. Okay. Okay, so there you go. So that takes care of rebuilding the 847. And sounds like an airplane. And there you go, your Holley one barrel. Oh, don't forget your idle mixture screw with the spring. Turn it in all the way until it be gentle. Seats, and you turn it out about a turn and a half. Okay, you'll have to adjust this after you get the vehicle running. But there you go. Thank you for watching.